paradise, the place you long for all your life. UNA University, manifesting all your dreams. With paradise, your land is home. Writing contracts on your own. Protect your loved ones every day. Knowledge goes a long, long way. UNA University for me. UNA University for me. UNA paradise all your life. University all your dreams. Land is home on your own. Every day, long, long way. UNA University for me. UNA. To your paradise, the place you long for all your life. With UNA University, you're manifesting all your dreams. Yours truly, Diva Lyri in the house, representing Halo. Halo. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, 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 welcome. Yes, 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 yes. UNA. Yeah, welcome everybody. Oh, my sister's still singing. Yes, 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 yes. UNA. Yeah, they want to keep singing. I want to keep singing. But we got works to do. Hello, everybody. I'm yours truly, Diva Lyri. Welcome, welcome, and welcome. This is UNA Republic and UNA University, where we help you find your financial freedom, your social freedom, and most importantly, your spiritual freedom. Let's get into it. I want to welcome Genesis in the house. Patricia's in the house. Everybody is in the house. I want y'all to like, share, and subscribe. Ray, what's going on, Ray? Just me is in the house. Just me and just me is in the house. TikTok, welcome. YouTube, welcome. X and Twitter, welcome. We are streaming live. All right. So we got some stuff going on today. And I'm so excited to be here and talk to you. Now, today we're going into the hidden history of America. All right. We're going to get into the whole United States of America versus Morocco relationship and understand what's really going on there. So I'm ready to ruffle some feathers. So if you got some feathers going on and you feel like you know some stuff, okay, I'm ready to ruffle them up. Okay, so just get them ready so I can get to it. Now, before I get into that, I need to get into this. We are in summer season 2025. If you're interested in enrolling in summer season 2025, my people on TikTok, name, number, email, leave that in the inbox. My people on YouTube, find us at unauniversity.com. As a matter of fact, let's show this. Put this on the screen for me, Savvy. Because we are in, I'm so proud of my students, by the way. One of my students is in the house. What's up, student? I'm so proud of them. One of the things that I teach them is that when you get the spiritual side intact, everything else in this third dimension just comes into order. So if you're interested in really learning how to tap into the spiritual side, let's go. Join the university, all right? So you can see here we have Back to Basics, which is our trust program that I'm ready to go into in a second. But you have to have a trust because everything that we do, it builds on top of the trust. So you're going to have to know how to create a trust for yourself, for your business, for your children, for your cars, for your house, for everything else. You learn how to create a trust and how to operate in the private, okay? So that's why this is a very important class. This is Back to Basics is a class that you actually take on your own. There are 8 sessions, and you take those on your own. But then there's application of universal law. Once again, where we're dealing with the universal laws, how to apply them. You know, you hear a lot of people saying, well, I know about the universal laws. I heard about them. Oh, darkness come light. And no, we're going to start putting them into effect. So you got the knowledge. Now you're going to start acting with wisdom. All right. So knowledge, and then application of the knowledge gives you wisdom. So that's what we're doing here. We want to make sure you don't just know them, but you apply them. So that's what the application of universal laws is. And once you really get into that class, again, you're going to see your whole world change, because you, as I've said often, you are a God. All right. For those of y'all who are afraid to use that term, I understand, because you absolutely have to be accountable for everything you do, everything you say, every action you take. You have to be accountable. And when you learn to do that, you learn to change your whole world. All right. You can't be a God and a victim at the same time. So if you want to learn how to walk as the God that you are, then come on, let's go. All right. Want to welcome TX in the house, Sun B, welcome. All right, so now also we have on our Wednesday classes estate management. Estate management deals with your trust. Once again, everything starts from the trust. How to put your cars under trust, your house, your children, your business, and everything else. Also, we're going to show you how to establish your EIN numbers, how to establish bank accounts, how to establish brokerage accounts, how to use them, how to set up umbrella trusts. We're going into it in this class. So if you're wanting to learn these things, join the class. We have we meet via Zoom. We have our Monday and Wednesday classes. Our Mondays are our spiritual side, where we really go deep. Our Wednesdays is when we get into the paperwork and the nuts and bolts of it and the physical side. All right. So if you're interested, find us on unauniversity.com. My people on TikTok, leave a message in the inbox, name, number, email, and let's go. Okay. The trust package, membership trust package is what we talked about. Now, when you see Back to Basics is a part of this membership trust package. Thank you, Savvy. All right. So with this membership trust package, what you're going to get is all of your trust documents here that are sealed. You're also going to get a membership badge. This membership badge is highly important because of the simple fact we've had a lot of people who've said that their job is trying to force them to do something. When you're a member of UNA, all right, you learn to stand as the nation that you are, and then we help you. Okay, so when you show this, then they know they got to back off. All right, that's if you want to stand. Some people just want to roll over and let people walk on them. That's fine. But for those of you who want to stand and you want to learn how to handle yourself, all right, membership trust package. Also, it comes with an allodial ID. All right, with this allodial ID on the back, there's a QR code so that when we put your documents on record, you will be able to access them quickly if you ever need to. You're going to be able to access the certified copy quickly because it's not only online with the county, which we're going to do for you, it's also going to be online with UNA. So with this, you're going to be able to access that quickly, rapidly. Also, this comes with an education. Very important. That Back to Basics is the education. And I tell you, the price that we're charging for this, you can't go anywhere else and get the information that we're given. Anything dealing with sovereignty, it's in the membership trust package. So not only the trust, but the knowledge of how to use it. You want to get this membership trust package. Once again, find us at UNA University. My people on TikTok, name, number, email, leave it in the inbox. Let's go. All right, lastly, we got the UNA Beginner Law Book. Yeah. All right, this has all of the laws, the maxims of law. It's got the hierarchy of law, the universal laws, the vibratory frequency chart. All of these are in the book, but we give you extra copies when you get the physical book. Why do we do that? Well, because we don't want you tearing out the book. We want you to put this up on your walls, on your mirrors, on your refrigerator, so that it can become a part of you. Also, if you get the physical copy, you're going to get the societal totem pole, as well as the societal totem pole and the civilization cycle chart. All right, this is helping you to understand what these cycles are, because everything is a cycle. And when you get it, oh my goodness, when you get it, you're going to find yourself again creating the third dimension that you care to see. So if you want this, go to unauniversity.com. All right, get this book. All right, this is, as I've told you guys, if I go into court, I'm putting these laws on record every time. They're already on record. They all already are law. But if I go into court, I get to create my own court. I'm going to put these on record. That's what I do. And then I stand on them. All right. So good. Got that. Today, my friends, we're talking about hidden history of America. The hidden history of America. Now, I need to go into this because I get a lot of people pushing back when I say that Morocco was not a true friend to the United States of America. All right. When I say that Morocco was not a true friend to the United States of America, people want to say, oh, well, not because Morocco, they was the ones who helped United States get free. Okay, this is not true. WNBA original, welcome. This is for spiritual, really, WNBA. Thank you for joining. It's really for spiritual. WNBA asks, is this class specifically for business? It's for spiritual. And let's understand, business is spiritual, whether you know it or not. And I'm so happy to have WNBA here. WNBA probably saw me on some of the pages where I'm, was watching some WNBA basketball. That's a spiritual situation too, WNBA, but we'll get into that later. So, but thank you for that question. Let's get into this. Understanding the truth about the history of the United States of America and some things that we have not been told, and things that we have been told that are hiding the truth. Okay. And I want to go into why it's being hidden. So going back to when the United States of America was first, people recognized it as far as it being on this planet. You'll know Christopher Columbus' story. He didn't really land on the inlands of America, but he brought a lot of attention to the Americas with his voyage, okay? So I don't want to get deep into what he did, but I'm just going to say this. His purpose of the voyage was so that he could find a land where his people were not persecuted for their religion, rather. That's it. He wanted to find a place where people were not persecuted for their religious beliefs, for the simple fact that Christopher Columbus, was being kicked out of Spain by Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand, two melanated people. I need to go back a little bit. Yeah. King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella, they were two melanated people, and Queen Isabella had finally kicked the Sultan of Morocco out of Spain. So he was ruling. He was Muslim. Now, her whole decree was that if you are not Christian, or if you don't convert to Christianity, you need to leave here or you're going to be killed. That was her decree. If you are not Christian or you're not converting to Christianity, you need to leave or you would be killed. Well, Columbus converted, all right, from either Islam. When in my research I see some say Islam, some say Judaism, that he was a Jew. Either way, both of those two types of people, if they're coming from that religion, they're melanated. So here you got Christopher Columbus, who's being kicked out of Spain. He knows about a land or a territory, and he wants to go and find it. So he needs to get money from these two melanated folks, King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella, in order to take this voyage. Okay, so he gets funding from them, and then he takes the voyage, and he finds the outer lying lands of what we know today as the Americas. Okay, so that was in 1492. So I need to fast forward. I just needed to set that up so that you understand something as we move forward. When he comes in the land, they find these brown people. All right. Now, why is that a big deal? Because we need to understand that there were already people in the land, and we're going to understand who they were and who they are today. We're going to understand who they were then and who they are today. Okay, so Columbus comes in, and the next thing you know, all of this attention is brought on the territory. So now you've got France in here trying to get their piece of the land. You've got Britain in here. You've got Russia. Who else you got in here? Morocco, by the way, was not in it. There's nothing on any map that anybody can give you that shows you that Morocco had a part of the territory. It doesn't exist. But you've got other countries, if you will, coming in wanting a piece of the territory. Meanwhile, there's people already in the land who had made a decree that this land belongs to us and we do not plan on giving it up. All right, you can please take notes. You sit down and listen to me. I need you to have a pen and paper if you're serious about knowing what happened. If you're not serious, I'm not talking to you. But if you really want to know what happened, take notes so you can go and look it up for yourself. Don't believe a word I say, especially as we get deeper into this information about the truth, the hidden truth about the United States of America. So we have this situation where there's people already in the land. They've made this decree, the Iroquois Confederacy. Go and look it up, the Iroquois Confederacy, whereby they have said that, hey, this is our land. We are not turning it over, but we will pay tribute to you. Also, so there, let me get into the main people that were coming into the land. So there was Britain was the first to set up a corporation that we know of in the 1600s. It's called the Virginia Company. The Virginia Company. Now, it's the same company you know of today as State of Virginia. Now, I'm not going to go deep into the difference between state, federal, and county. A little bit. I'm going to talk about them, but I don't want to go too deep because then people start getting confused. So what I need you to do is just hear me, do your research, and then, you know, if you want to know more information, if you have questions, leave a question in the comment section. Okay, so what ends up happening is the United States, excuse me, it wasn't the United States, it was Britain that started setting up these companies. All right, State of Virginia. It was actually the Virginia Company. Now you know of it as State of Virginia. All of those colonies, those were companies. And what had happened is they went into contract or treaty with the original people of the land. And you can find those treaties at unarepublic.com/docs, DOCS. There's a list of treaties that the British had with the original people of the land. And in those treaties, what they said was that the original people stated, hey, we do not give up rights to our land, but we're going to lease it to you. We're giving you permission to be on the land. That's what those treaties were. And in turn, we're going to pay you taxes for your, what do you say, protection. What they wanted to be protected from, I don't know. But I need y'all to understand that I don't know where they were coming up with these pilgrim things, because the original people in those colonies were the original people of the land. So the original people of the land were paying taxes to Britain for some kind of protection. Listen up so y'all can understand what really happened. So there were other people that had started settling in the land, some of which I call elite Moors. These are not specifically people from Morocco or from Tunis or Algiers. They were just elite Moors that wanted separation from all of what was going on over there. So, for example, they didn't want to have any kind of royalty. They didn't care for that. They didn't care for the fact that people would rewrite history. So they're called elite or considered elite because their knowledge, all right? They had knowledge of the higher law. They had knowledge of how to contract. So when these elite Moors came in, all right, they had started establishing things that we know of as counties for the people. What's the purpose of a county? To count things and keep records of everything that somebody says they own. Why did they need a county? Because these agents, Britain and all these other people, they would rewrite the history. So if you say you own something, they just come in and like, nah, I own it. And they make up a story or they rewrite the history, and then suddenly you don't own what you thought you owned. Well, they created the counties purposely so that they are for the people. And to this day, if you understand what a county is, then you can get them to work for you the way they're supposed to work. But people don't know what a county is. But a county is there, once again, to count and keep records of what you say you own. This is why when you have a property, and it says, well, here's the meets and bounds, and this corner at this longitude and latitude, and this longitude and latitude down to this one latitude. Okay, all that is keeping a record of, okay, this is your land. And so when there is any kind of a discrepancy, who comes in? The sheriff. That's why the sheriff is with the county. The sheriff's purpose is to protect the people and the property of the people. That's what the purpose of the sheriff is. They don't call the popo when you're getting evicted. No, they're calling the sheriff. That's a county issue. That's a land issue. So you got to understand that the county is the highest authorizing agency on land on the private side. All right, on the private side. I'm going deep now. I hope y'all listening. The last shall be first. Yes, that's right. Good evening. The last shall be first. Okay, so now we're understanding that what the county is. The highest authorizing agency on land on the private side. And this was set up by elite Moors. These are the same people who created the United States of America. Be clear that there's a difference between the United States of America versus the United States. I haven't gotten into them yet. I'm just talking about that corporation called United States of America, created in 1777. Well, 1776, 1777. All right. So why did they create this corporation called the United States of America? Well, They created it because all of the tyranny that Britain was doing with the colonies to the people of the land. Remember, these colonies are making money, but Britain was raining down tyranny on the people. What does that mean? Well, they were charging them and kidnapping them and making claims against them, trying to force them into certain things that were what they at that time they didn't consider them unconstitutional, but they weren't right. They weren't respecting any rights of the people. So this is why the Moors, these elite Moors, felt that the United States needs to be free from the reign of Britain. Meanwhile, let's be clear, these elite Moors, they were melanated. Now, Moors doesn't necessarily mean dark skin or light skin. And I get people upset with me. Well, no, Moor mean he was black. No, okay, ask your Moor friends, were there so-called white Moors? Ask them. Were there some Albion Moors? Because they don't, if they're a Moor, they normally don't use that term white either because they know what it means. But ask them if there was some Albion or light-skinned Moors. Ask them. So if you're telling me there were light-skinned Moors or Albion Moors, then please don't tell me that the term Moor had to do with skin color. It had to do with a job done on a ship. But that being said, the vast majority of these Moors were melanated people, and they're the ones who established the United States of America. This is why you have George Washington coming in here, and they're telling you that in 1789 he was the first president of the United States of America. Well, then how is it this thing had been running for 13 years all the way up to George Washington, and you telling me he's the first president, when anytime you incorporate anything, even to this day, you better have a president, vice president, secretary, chair, co-chair, all these other things. You better have that in place before you incorporate. Otherwise, this is not considered a true legal entity. So, not to mention, they're not telling you about the Continental Congress and the 6 presidents before George Washington. Why? Well, see, that's going to come in to play in a few minutes when you understand who George Washington was. Meanwhile, you got these people over here that started the United States of America. The vast majority of the presidents in this so-called Continental Congress were melanated. But they don't want you to know that, because then that doesn't fit the narrative that you came over here on some slave ships. They don't want you to know that the original people, the melanated people in the land, they own slaves, banks, lawyers, judges, you name it, blacksmith. Well, all these smiths, these melanated folk, owners of land, these melanated folk. Even if you go to the counties, remember the counties, that count thing. Listen, I gotta go into this real quick. You know, they're telling you that melanated people came over here on slave ships and they couldn't read and write, and they didn't have any knowledge of the land. Meanwhile, if you go down to the counties, which count things and hold records so that people can't rewrite history, what you're going to find is up until the 1900s, the vast majority of the land was in the name of melanated people. Up until the 1900s, the vast majority of the land was in the name of melanated people. You can find this when you go to the counties all across the United States. Well, see, why does that not fit the narrative? Well, see, for the simple fact that you telling me you brought the melanated people over here as slaves, and then they couldn't read and write, and then the so-called white man was running everything. But some kind of way, the so-called white man allowed the slave and the melanated folks to put all the land in their names. That doesn't make sense. Again, when you know the truth, then you understand that the narrative you have been taught is a lie. So once again, I'm just bringing this information to you. Don't believe a word that I say. That's why I told you where you can find the information. Go check the counties. How are you telling me that all of these people came over here as slaves and you want to call us slaves and descendants of the slaves? But then we go and look up, check the records that can't be rewritten. What we find in the archives is that the land was in the name of melanated people up until the 1900s. Well, how did the melanated people end up getting all that land in their names? Well, okay, the truth and the hidden history of America. Let me continue. So we end up in this situation where this United States of America has been created by these elite Moors who come in and their job is to make the people or the land of the United States of America independent from Britain. Basically, what they were doing is kicking Britain out. This is a hostile takeover. I just told you they're making a lot of money off these 13 colonies and they're making money off these 13 colonies. And their plan, the elite Moors, was saying to Britain, well, not no more. We're cutting that off. So what happens when you mess with somebody's money and you tell them you cutting them off from something that they created that was making money? Well, you're going to get a fight. And that's why there's a Revolutionary War. The Revolutionary War came about once again because these elite Moors were kicking Britain out from their 13 colonies. All right. So then now you got this situation where there's a Revolutionary War, and this is around the time of 1776 and maybe a few years after that, but there's a war between them and Britain. All right. So you got to remember there's the original people in the land. Then you got these elite Moors in here that's creating this United States of America so that it can become independent from Britain. I want to take some time and go into what they did to create an independency of this United States of America from Britain. Now, you all know about the Declaration of Independence. So one of the things I always encourage people to do when they ask me, well, what I need to read, Diva, what should I look at? Go look at the original documents, the Declaration of Independence, the Peace and Friendship Treaty. Look that up. The Constitution, look it up and read it. See, you need to find the organic Constitution. Look that up and read it. Go and get the Iroquois Confederacy. Pull down those treaties I just told you about. If you want to do some reading and you want to hear the ancestors speak, I want to see the legal documentation that can't be rewritten. I want to see somebody's opinion, their thoughts. I need you to go and look it up for yourself as well, so that it's not you just believing Diva Lyri. Just see it, and you can hear the ancestors speak to you yourself. Okay, so we got this point where the United States or the elite Moors have created the United States of America. And let me say this real quick. A lot of people want to say this country was built on Christianity. No, it wasn't. Oh, this country was built on Islam. No, it wasn't. You remember when I told you Christopher Columbus and he set sail, and his whole purpose, I need to find a place where my people won't be persecuted for their religious beliefs. The Constitution was created for the purpose of protecting everybody's and anybody's religious beliefs. It wasn't based on a religion. It was based on the principle of you have the God-given right to believe however you feel as long as you're not doing harm to others. That's what it was created for. It's not based on anybody's religion. And so in creating this United States of America, I need y'all to understand that these were people who were foreign to this land. They were melanated, but then there was also another melanated group already in the land. All right. So they come into the land, these elite Moors, they establish the counties, and then they establish the United States of America. They create a declaration, they create a constitution. Now, let's understand these two things is exactly what we teach you how to do when you're in Back to Basics and you're getting a trust. In order to create separation of yourself, your vessel, your all capital letter name, you got to know how to create a declaration and constitution. Because what people don't understand is that you are a walking state in fact. You are land. I don't know if you all have ever seen the census. I'm going to get back to the story. But I don't know if you all have ever seen the census, and the census will say, you know, each state is supposed to get this, this, and this, and each state is supposed to get $1 million. Y'all think they're talking about the state of California, the state of Texas. No, they're talking about you. You are the state. So you supposed to get $1 million. But if you knew how to do what the United States was doing, then you will know how to handle those funds yourself. That's another story. I'm not going into it. But the bottom line is that having knowledge of this helps you to understand how to free yourself. All right, that's just on the legal side, understanding this whole legal game that's going on. And I need to tell it to you so that when you're walking, people can't just tell you, oh no, that's not how it happened. That it happened different from that. They can't just tell you that because you have knowledge. You have done the research. You've seen it for yourself. All right, let me continue, because these Moors come in here and they create the United States of America. But there was also a fight. And it wasn't really a fight. It was the original people of the land, the so-called Indians. They were being stepped on and walked on by the United States of America. Now, Britain was kind enough to make contracts and treaties with them and pay them some semblance, even though Britain was doing treacherous things too. But they were kind enough to put it in writing. But these elite Moors, oh no, they didn't do that. They just created their counties, and then they started creating, which is a government, all right? The county is a government. The city of and state of, that's not a government. They tell you it's government, but it's not. State of anything is not government. All right, those are just businesses owned by Britain who pretend to be government so that they can take everything you own from you. All right, let me keep going. Because what ends up happening is they create the United States of America, but they're stepping on the original people of the land. They are mistreating the original people of the land. And eventually they started giving the original people of the land, they degraded their status from Indian to black, colored, Negro. The Moors, these melanated Moors, elite Moors that came in, they degraded the status of the people, the original people, the so-called Indians, to black, colored, and Negro. That title, black and colored, originally didn't apply to melanated people. Neither did Negro. They did not apply to melanated people. Once again, this is the hidden history of America. The terms black, colored, and Negro originally did not have anything to do with skin color. And I'm not breaking them down today because I need to finish this point. But once the United States of America was created, their status was degraded to black, colored, and Negro. All right. So now to this day, you still got people who really are original people of this land running around calling themselves a black, colored, Negro, African American, descendant of the slaves, minority, and not understanding the legal ramifications of everything they're calling themselves. Listen, okay, I need to go back to this. I just told you you're a God. All right? That's what you are. When you make a declaration, when you say something out of your mouth, so shall it be. When you make a declaration and you say something out of your mouth, so shall it be. So you need to be very cognizant of the things that you're saying and the declarations that you're making out of your mouth, because these people out here, these agents, they're holding you to it. You said you black. And you walking in the court and you said you black, not recognizing that legally you said you have no rights to own anything. Legally, you said you dead and fictitious. Legally, you said you have no standing at law. And the problem is, because we have no knowledge of what's going on and what we're saying and what we're declaring out of our mouth, you don't even recognize you a God. You don't even recognize that they're holding you to what you say. Okay. So here we got these elite Moors that have degraded the status of another melanated group of people. And now you've got these group of people not understanding, because they're trying to communicate. Not only did they degrade their status, they wouldn't communicate with them. You got the Indians, and if you go to that site I told you to go to, unarepublic.com/D as in David, O as in Oscar, C as in Charlie, S as in Sam, /docs. Go and pull down the document and it'll show you where you got these Indians of the Confederacy. We ain't even gonna go into what Confederacy really means, but you got these Indians, they're saying, hey, we've been trying to communicate with you. You guys are being disrespectful. We gave you this much land and you took this much land. Well, can we just have a conversation about it? Because you keep killing off our people. We are here about peace. Can we have a conversation? United States of America, Continental Congress, they never responded. All right. So there's a lot of treachery going on in this time. Okay, so now I need to get into Morocco. This is when Morocco comes into the game. After the United States of America had successfully beaten Britain out of the United States of America, then Britain says, well, you know what? We have a contract with Morocco, but the United States of America doesn't. So since they don't have a contract, then we're going to send Morocco in to be the bad guy and bring them to their knees. Now, I need to go into this, so I need y'all to understand what really happened when you hear people say, well, you know, Morocco was the first nation to recognize the United States of America. Well, that's not really what happened, so pay attention. Morocco saw how much money Britain was making off of those 13 colonies. And they saw that, oh, well, Britain, they don't even have to go to war with people. They just making a lot of money and the people just paying them taxes. You know what? We want to be a kinder, gentler country. Because, see, Morocco was known for fighting with people all the time. That's what they were just bullies, barbarics. They just were known for fighting with people. And so they decided, you know what? We want to make a lot of money like Britain, and we're going to be a kinder, gentler nation. So we're going to invite everybody to be a part of our ports, and we're going to recognize these smaller nations that are just being made. And United States happened to be one of them. There was maybe, I would say, 3 to 5 other nations that they invited that didn't have that recognition, and they invited to be a part of paying Morocco treaty. All right, so they're telling you, oh, Morocco just wanted to be friends with the treaty. No, the treaty was a contract whereby the United States would pay them money. Let's be clear on that. They wanted money. That's why they were inviting everybody to be a part of their ports, because it's like, okay, well, this is what we're going to do. If your ship is sailing, and we're going to make sure we protect it, but if you didn't pay us, we're going to steal it. They were the Barbary countries, pirates, That's what they did. They steal other people's ships and they steal people's land. That's what they were. And so at this time, it was Morocco saying, hey, we're going to invite you to be a part of our family. You know, we got to do this treaty and you pay us tribute. Let's understand what United States did. United States snubbed Morocco. United States didn't want to have nothing to do with Morocco. Morocco was sending all these invitations, and the United States was not even answering. Like, oh, we good. We doing business with France. This is why you have the Treaty of Paris. The Treaty of Paris, and that happened in 1776 or somewhere around there. Treaty of Paris, that's when the United States got its so-called independence. And shortly thereafter, after signing that Treaty of Paris, and you know, there's even on the Moroccan embassy page where the Moroccan embassy asked the United States, they sent another notice. They're like, listen, we've been sending you notices. Well, why are y'all not responding to us? We invited you to be a part of our great, magnificent. But this is Morocco. We have invited you to be one with us and the family, and you haven't answered. And again, you know who answered them? Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin was like, we good. We are signing with Paris, and this is where you once again get the Treaty of Paris, and that's where they got their independence. Shortly thereafter, Morocco seized the ships of America. They say, so you're not gonna, okay, tell you what, you see an American ship with an American flag, you seize that, and we're gonna kidnap everybody on the ship and sell everything on the ship and keep it for ourselves. They kept doing that, and they brought the United States to their knees. They couldn't trade. That was Morocco who did that. And why did they do that? Because Britain was like, listen, we the treaty is between me and you, Morocco, not me, because the United States of America has kicked us out. So you do what you need to do. So Morocco seized their ships, and the country suffered. The people cried out, what you gonna do? They got our people. Bring our peoples home. They couldn't bring in money. They couldn't bring in goods. Everything they had was being stolen by Morocco. And so they had to sign the treaty of 1786. They had to sign it because they were refusing to pay tribute. Or let me rephrase that, because Morocco had stolen their ships. And they did it because the United States of America was refusing to pay tribute to Morocco. Now, I need y'all to understand what I just said and how it plays a role today. All right. Morocco seized the ships of the United States, and their whole thing was, well, if you don't pay me, then you can't have your ships out here on the sea. We're going to steal it. This is no different than the state telling you, if you don't register your car, then we're going to seize your car and we're going to sell it. It's the same thing. Register means they want you to not only give them money or tribute or payment, but they want ownership of your car. So let's be clear on this. When you register something, all right, so my screen is paused. Let me see what's going on. Let me see what's going on. Hold on, I might have to back out and come back in. All right, can y'all hear me? Patricia said maritime law. Yes, maritime law. Can you guys hear me okay? I want to welcome everybody into the room. Let me make sure I check to see if I have any questions. If y'all have any questions or comments, I do want to hear them. Please put them in the comments section so that I can get to them before I get up out of here. All right, so we had a little, my camera wanted to act up a little bit. So let me get myself set back up here. All right. Is everybody good? Can you all hear me? I want to welcome TikTok. Mario says truth. All right. Mario, thank you for the love. Vindy or VKNDY. Thank you for the love. I want to thank everybody who's in TikTok, all my people on YouTube. I want y'all to please take some time to like and share. Somebody says, where are your references and proof? Who is this? Let me see who said this. Where are your references and proof? Listen, I already told you where to go. Now, let me say this, because I get people to prove it. I'm not here to prove nothing to you. My job is to give you the facts and then tell you where to go to find them. Because if you really don't want to know, then it doesn't matter. But if you're really looking for the truth, you need to go and see it for yourself, okay? So my job is not to prove it. I told you where to go. As a matter of fact, go to the Moroccan embassy page themselves. They're telling you the whole story there. All right. So I want to thank you for that question. I just encourage you to go and look it up. Okay. Don't believe me. I don't want you to believe me. All right. So now moving on to this. Now we're understanding we've got a situation where the original people of the land, their status has been degraded. And there is a war. So you got the original people of the land with degraded status. You got the elite Moors in here running the United States of America. They've kicked Britain out successfully, kind of. And then you've got Morocco that has seized the ships of the United States of America and brought them to their knees and forced them into a contract. And this is the same type of contract that the state tries to force you in concerning your car, because your car is your property, but you sign it over when you register it. Anytime you register something, that means that you have turned over ownership of that thing, whether it be your car, your house, your children, your business, and anything else. You've signed over or turned over ownership of that thing. All right. So you don't have to do that. And this is why we deal so much with trust. Yes, this is dealing with maritime. However, you have to know what the laws of maritime are, and then you have to understand how to deal with federal, how to put things under trust. Go Diego, welcome. All right. So as we're learning how to do that, how to put things under trust, how to stand, all right, then you're going to learn how to protect yourself. Okay, let's get into this. So Morocco seized the ships. They signed the peace and friendship treaty. Once again, this is not a treaty truly of peace and friendship. It's a treaty of please don't keep stealing our ships and taking everything and selling it and bringing this country to its knees. That's what it is. Morocco never had ownership of the United States at any time. And as a matter of fact, let's go into the Peace and Friendship Treaty, because I have too many people who will say the Peace and Friendship Treaty, that's the Morocco owned. And then here's the big one. And I won't go into this. I'm going to try not to dive too deep on this document called George Washington's letter to Morocco. So the Peace and Friendship Treaty, let's understand what that is first. This did not deal at all with the land, because let's be clear. The only people legally who have any rights to sign anything away concerning land are the original people of that land. And we have already understood with the Declaration of Independence that the people who created the United States of America, they weren't even originally of this land. They said it in the document itself. Also, if you read the document, and I'm so tempted to pull it up, but I'm not gonna pull it up today. read the Declaration of Independence and see who signed it. Look at those names. You got Hancock and Johnson and Jeffrey and Jefferson and all these. You don't see not one name of the original people of the land. If you want to see the names of the original people, look up those treaties I told you to look up. Go and look in those treaties, and they're telling you the names of those people. Not one of the original people names are on that contract dealing with the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, the Peace and Friendship Treaty, none of it. So none of it had better be dealing with land, otherwise it's null and void. Because the only people who can sign any kind of contract concerning this land are the original people of this land. Okay, so we get this Peace and Friendship Treaty, and what it deals with is the people. In there are two specific people that Peace and Friendship Treaty deals with. Number one, the Americans, people coming from the land known as America. And number two, the Moors, people coming from the land known as Morocco. And the contract or the agreement states, if any of our Moors come to the land known as America and there's problems or they get into any trouble, then they are under our jurisdiction. And so your job is to send them back to us in Morocco and we will handle them. Likewise, if any Americans are up here in this territory known as Morocco and they get in trouble or they have any issues, we're going to give them protection and we're going to send them back to America and make sure you handle them. If your ships are here in our territory and there's a problem, we're going to make sure you are safe. When you get out to sea, we're going to give you protection. And likewise, you do the same for our ships. That's what the Peace and Friendship was about. It had nothing to do with land. It had nothing saying about, oh, well, Morocco owns it. This wasn't the case, never, ever. And so when we understand what this treaty was and how it came about and why it came about because it was being forced on the United States of America by this country, Morocco, who wanted to be a kinder, gentler nation so they can make more money and stop warring with people all the time. Okay, so they get the Peace and Friendship Treaty, and who comes in and who's the one negotiating that whole deal? Well, George Washington. Who is George Washington? See, I need to go back. I talked about the organic Constitution. The original or organic Constitution had a 13th Amendment. And in that 13th Amendment, it said, if you are any kind of royalty, it's called a royalty clause, meaning a king, a queen, a duchess, a prince, anything like that, you were not qualified to be president of the United States of America. And they were serious about that because they know how these so-called royalty folks try to get into a situation and they take it over and then they rule it by family. They didn't want that. The original, these elite Moors, they didn't want that kind of business going on in the United States. That's why they had that clause. But here comes George Washington. Well, who is George Washington? He is a direct descendant of the Queen of England. This was kept quiet. George Washington was a direct descendant of the Queen of England. Well, why is that a problem? Well, number one, because he wasn't supposed to be president because he had some kind of royal bloodline relationship. Well, you might not think that's a problem, but it is a problem because George Washington, all the way down to Obama, are related by blood. All the way down. And I tell you, the people who are playing this game, Britain, they know how to get into something and infiltrate it from the inside and control it from the inside, and then they come on the outside and control it from there too. That's what they do. That's their MO. So here you got a situation where the United States has won its independence from Britain, but Britain infiltrated from the inside, starting with George Washington, which is why in school you're taught that George Washington was the first president, but not about all the melanated presidents that came before him. Not to mention George Washington was melanated himself. So was Abraham Lincoln and everybody in between them. Melanated. All right. So again, don't believe me. Just research it. Don't believe me. So you got the situation now where George Washington has come in and he tells you, see, now let's get into this George Washington's letter to the Sultan of Morocco and how these people are taught with this Moorish group. And I try to, I love my folks. I know that we've been misled and mistaught and whatever because we don't do our own homework and we believe narratives. That's why I don't want you to believe my narrative. I just need you to go and look it up and then you can see it for yourself. But you've got the situation where people are taught that it was, the Moors were owning the United States of America, and there's this peace and friendship treaty, and then there's this letter to Morocco. I need to break down this letter to Morocco. In this letter to Morocco, George Washington comes in and once again, see, the United States of America had snubbed Morocco and had continued to snub Morocco. They was like, we're not paying you tribute. We're not giving you nothing. And then George Washington had to smooth things over. Now, I need to say this before I go into it. I need you to understand that the relationship between Morocco and Britain, this is very important. There is a relationship between Morocco and Britain. So there's Morocco, there's Britain, and then there's the United States of America, run by these elite Moors. And then you got your Indians. That's a whole nother group, melanated group at that. But Morocco and Britain had been in bed together since before the United States of America was even thought about. What do I mean by that? They had been trading together. When you look at Morocco, Morocco is one of the Barbary companies or countries. It's a Barbary country. Tunis, Algiers, Tripoli, Montezuma, Morocco, they're all Barbary countries. Well, you need to understand who owned the Barbary company. Well, that was Britain. They had been trading and been in bed together since the 1300s, 1400s. They had been trading sugar and other things. They were a married, as a matter of fact, Britain had sent one of their people to be the right-hand man to the Sultan of Morocco. They were married. They were in bed together in business. So when this whole thing went down where the United States kicked Britain out, well, who you think Morocco sided with? They sided with Britain. Till this day, they still in bed. You just have to go and do the research and understand it and see it for yourself. Till this day, Morocco is still in bed with Britain. So I need y'all to understand, Moors, those of y'all with this Moorish science temple and all of this, I need you to understand some things that are going on and how you keep writing contracts. And when you write contracts, then they're going to hold you to it. So you've got this situation where the Moors or Morocco has this treaty, and then George Washington writes this letter to the Sultan of Morocco. And he says in this letter, oh, your magnificent, wonderful magnitude, Morocco Sultan, we love you. And we want you to know we're so sorry. We're so sorry that we didn't send you this information sooner, but I'm sending you a new constitution. I'm sending you a new Constitution, because I had to rewrite the Constitution, Sultan, but you're going to like this Constitution. So I'm sending you this new rewritten Constitution, which takes out that 13th clause that says there's not supposed to be any royalty. Somebody gave him permission to rewrite the organic constitution because he wasn't supposed to be president. Okay. Not only that, he said some other things in that document. He said something about your domain, something about the United States is under your domain. What he's basically saying is we are paying you tribute to keep you from stealing our ships. Even if you go and read the Peace and Friendship Treaty, it makes it very clear that these are two separate nations. You got the United States of America and you got Morocco. There's nothing whereby Morocco owned the United States of America. But people want to keep telling you this, and I'm here to tell you why they want to keep telling you this, melanated people. I'm going to tell you why they keep wanting to tell you this. All right. So now you've got this situation where, you know, the Morocco or George Washington has written this letter to the Sultan of Morocco, and he's saying all of these things about, yeah, we're sorry we're late. I got this new constitution. Then he says another thing that people just are not paying attention to, but he says, I want to thank you for helping us with Colonel Proctor. Proctor, look this up and who this guy is. He says, I thank you for helping us out with that situation with Colonel Proctor. Now, who is Colonel Proctor? This is a guy who would go and seek the Indians and kill them. That was what he did. That was what he was known for. They called this dude and hey, we got these Indians over here. We need you to go over there and kill off all them Indians. And that's what he would do. And he was part of George Washington's army. And George Washington saying to Morocco, thank you, Morocco, for helping us with Colonel Proctor so he can go kill more Indians. So you tell me, do you think that Morocco was a friend to the original people of this land? Because the original people of this land were melanated. They look like me. They look like this. All you light-skinned people out there who want to talk, whatever, say what you want to say. I'm telling you what the original people look like. And we got proof of this. We got images and pictures and drawings of what the original people look like. And so what I'm saying to you is that you got three groups of melanated people: Moroccans, the people the elite Moors who was running in the United States of America, even Britain, that were coming down on the original people, the Indians of this land, who don't know who they are, who run around calling themselves black and colored and Negro today. The problem is that when you want to take on Morocco, you're not understanding, first of all, the term Morocco is a legal title. And when you claim that this land is Morocco, you've given it a legal title and you don't even recognize who it belongs to. When you are running that flag with the star on it and the red and the green, when you're running that, that's somebody's copyrighted and trademark material and you running it. And this is the same thing as you putting a tag on the back of your car, say state of Florida, state of Georgia. What you said is, this car is the property of state of Georgia, state of Florida, state of California. You've given over ownership of your vehicle. It's no different when you open your mouth and you say, this is Morocco. You don't even know the fact that you're running a flag and the name. I told you, God. I told you, gods. When you open your mouth and make a declaration, you don't understand what you're giving up. They can't give away the land unless you, the original person in your dead sleep self state, you're the only one that can give up title to the land by continuously opening your mouth and flying flags of corporations that don't have no desire for you at all. Go on over to Morocco and see how they treat you. But you want to keep calling this land. The only people who can make this Morocco is the people who keep opening their mouth saying it. And why would somebody want you to open your mouth saying it? Pay attention. I just said Morocco and England have been in bed together. I'm going to say it because there's people in the back of the room who not paying attention. Morocco and Britain have been in bed together, and they're still in bed together. So if I can get agents to come in here and make you say, well, you know, this is Morocco and I'm flying the flag, and they're telling you this story about how Morocco was so great to the United States of America, and not telling you the truth about the fact that the United States of America gained its independence with the Treaty of Paris and not the Treaty of Friendship and Peace. Why they're not telling you that? Because they're agents. They need you to say things out of your mouth, because when you do, you don't know that you're a God. You don't know that you have power. You don't know that you're the only one who can give up rights to this land. So you need to understand and recognize the fact that when you say this is Morocco or what have you, you got to understand these people decide to march on this land, and you over here flying a Moroccan flag and talking about this is Morocco, and you have said this out of your mouth. Well, they get to take it because you said it's their copyrighted and trademarked property. It's the same as you having their tag on the back of your car, and because you've claimed that it belongs to them. Same thing. I hope I made that clear. Does anybody have any questions or comments for me on that before I move forward? Halo L. Keeman, welcome. L. Keeman says, peace and love, Diva. May the great spirit always be with you. Thank you. Same with you, L. Keeman. All my people in TikTok. Let's see. Anybody have any questions or comments? I want y'all to like and share and subscribe. My people on TikTok, like, share, and subscribe. My people on X, come on, let's go. Do you have any questions or comments, disagreements? Anybody else tomorrow? Show me proof, Diva. Listen, my job is just to give you the facts, okay? Go and look it up. Then once you go look it up, come back. Let's have a great, intelligent discussion. I'm not here to be debating with you about this. I know what I know. I'll start for myself, and I need you to go see it for yourself. All right? So we're understanding what your power is, because, again, legally, when it comes to land or property, the only people who have the right to sign away anything concerning that property is the original owner. All right, it's the same, it's like with your car. The only people who have the right to sell your car is you or the state if they decide to, because you've given them ownership. All right, but they pretend like you have ownership, and then they make it where only you or them can sell your car. Okay, it's the same thing with land. And the problem is, as the original people who don't know who they are, you keep saying things that not only damn yourself, but take away the inheritance that was left for you. So going back to the inheritance, the original people, when we go and look in the Iroquois Confederacy, and we look in those treaties that I told you to look up, when you see those treaties, in those treaties, it says specifically, all right, we do not give up our land. We agree to subjugate ourselves and pay taxes, but the land shall remain in the name of our descendants forever. The land shall remain in the name of our descendants forever. The problem is you don't know you're a descendant. Okay? You got to understand. And then this is why it's important that we start tracing back our lineage. Okay. Finishing up. I need to say this, and then we're going to get out of here. Remember, there are 3 things that we do when we're declaring our sovereignty as far as a trust: declaration, security agreement, UCC. So if you'll understand, the declaration for the United States to free themselves. That was the Declaration of Independence. All right. Then we're talking about a security agreement. Well, what is that? That's your laws. That is your Constitution. Because remember, you are a state in fact. You are a walking land. That's what you are. And so when we put this under trust and we give it a spiritual title and we make sure there's a declaration, because we're declaring it as spiritual entities, we are giving it a set of laws. That's your security agreement. And then we do a UCC whereby we're putting a lien on it. And that's exactly what, what's the name of that, Morocco, that's exactly what they did to the United States. They put a they put a lien on the United States ships, and it was like, nah, we're gonna sell this. All right. But when you put your own lien on the ship first, or on your property first, all right, then everybody else has to back off unless they pay you what they owe first. You got to pay me what is owed to me first. And then, you know, if you got something to say about my car, then we could talk. So I got $1 million trust on my car. You need to pay that $1 million because it's on record that it is worth $1 million. Then you need to pay that first, and then we can talk. Otherwise, give me my car back. All right. So we clear? Anybody have any questions? Patricia says, I filled out the form for the trust packet. The packet that collects payments shows 2 figures. Which one do I check? Or both? All right, Patricia, you need to let's set an appointment and let's have a conversation, see if we can get you set up, get you straight. Anybody else have any comments? My people on TikTok, I love ya. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for listening. I hope y'all got something of value out of this session. Because I really, you know, my goal here is to make sure that we really all have knowledge of how to protect ourselves, all right? To protect ourselves from those who are constantly trying to take from us, all right? How to stand in law, how to be knowledgeable, all right? And then teach others, all right? So that's the main thing, most important thing. I hope y'all are getting this information. I want y'all to know I'm going to get out of here. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to see y'all next Friday. Diva Lyri, I'm out. Peace. Give me a hug.